future game developers, no? Future. Okay. Programmers. Ato I call you Pohon. Pohon, no? Hopefully. All right. So once again, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming in. Coming, no, for our second flux, third flux na tonight. So let's back where we left off. Before we proceed with our new topic for this week, I want you guys to ask me questions regarding the topics that we have uh, discussed last time. Although there are actually one we haven't discussed yet, the what we call this one, the ADT, the abstract data type. But I have actually uploaded recorded videos there. In case now if you weren't able to understand it, it's now the time to ask me some questions about it. Do you have any or anything about like you want to we wanted to discuss about the like even basic of Java before we proceed with uh this topic today. Do you have any?
Yeah.
Yes.
Sa streams and data set ako nang yung mga stream set.
Na I? If else? You want me to answer the ano? The problem? Saka na lang para baka hindi pa answer yun. If loop arrays methods, anyone or anything? Methods. You want to discuss the basic one?
What about for loops, sir?
For loops. Okay, good. For loops, not for loops to be discussed. Okay, sige. So for those who are attending online, everyone, we're going to review about loops. No, it's particularly for loop. Okay, so yeah, this is DSA. All right, so I know in Python, loops are really easy, no? In fact, it's dynamic because it has a range, no? You can have the range values into it in the loop, no, inside of a loop block. Okay, so let's say now in Java we have we have only three basic types of loops, no? The while loop, do while, and for loop. The other one is for each loop. Okay, so for each loop is actually used if ever you have already list algorithms. So this for each loop is actually used by many different programming languages, no, particularly C#, .NET, no, not Python, but PHP. No, so useful kaya dito na mga loops. Okay, so this time we're going to discuss or we're going to review for each, for loop. Okay, as requested. All right, so for loop is actually the same with while loop. It's actually a pre-test condition loop. So why it's called pre-test condition loop or pre-condition loop because the condition should be evaluated first before it proceeds the execution of the program. So to make it easier, so don't mind this one. These are actually indicator that we are trying to create a class with the for loop name, and then we have of course here the main method, which is this is what will Java look for. Now the compiler will look for this one. Whenever it sees the method or main method, it will execute the codes inside of this block. All right. So in the for loop, it has to be enclosed since it is a function or it's a method. It has to be enclosed with the delimiter use open and close parentheses. And then you have also the option either to put the curly braces. Usually, if you guys want to, siyempre si Java, no, it's not the same with Python because Python is a fully indented programming language. Well, Java is a token-based programming language, which means that every object there is considered as a token, and it's considered as being read by our it's really vital for the compiler to read it now. So usually we put something like end of method or end of loop, something like that. It's an indicator that this is the end of the loop. So I usually do this as like end of main, and then I do this end of class. So whenever I do troubleshooting or reading, or what they call this one, tracing my programs, I would be able to locate the my codes easily. Okay. So now, again, as I've told you, the loop doesn't have anything. I mean, optionally, pwede nimo siya, pwede ang loops would have only declaration like this. So let's start with the first one. So we have here int I, let's say, is equal to 0 or 1. I is less than or equal to 10. And then we have here I plus plus. Okay, so if in case you don't put this delimiter, this is only used for only one statement or single statement. Meaning to say, if you only decide that you want to display an output of displaying the values of I all throughout the loop, when it starts to, or it begins to loop until it becomes the I becomes 10, eventually it will, every time it is evaluated as true, this will display this one. Now system that out the print line, print line, and print f. Tatlo yan sila. At this time, print line, it's a combination of having a, we call this one, a backslash n in our print statement. Okay, so yeah, if ever you have already two, what we call this one, two statements, we call it compound statements in Java. If ever you have already compound statements, it means it's like in a sentence you have two subject and verb already. So it means it's compound na siya. Therefore, you will have to really include this one. The good thing kasi about putting a open and close curly braces, it means exclusivity of the loop block. Whenever there are codes inside of that loop block, that's part of the loop that it will execute. So, for instance, I have here something like this one. This will display numbers from 1 to 10, right? So later on we're going to trace one by one for that. So kaya lang I don't have the board. Maybe dito. But nabilin mo, I don't know asa kung ano sa tab, pen sa tab. Supposed to be online ta mag ano. So let's run this one. This would have displayed 1 to 10. Now, if you have anything like, let's say, I'm gonna display here, let's say the value of the x, I. So in this particular manner, by the way, since I is locally declared in the inside of the for loop, this means that I is not familiar, no? Or like the what they call this one, not familiar, but it's not locally declared. Therefore, it's not declared outside of the loop. Therefore, it has to be it has to be the value of the I would have been like displayed here, or instead like that, or you can actually erase this one. So anyway, isa-isahon na to na siya sa part sa loop sa Java. Now, if this is the case now, this would display 1 to 10 pa rin, but this will include additional 11, no? Okay? So, or sige lang, di natin ibutang na. Let's say hello na lang. Or Java or something. So hello. So hello is only displayed once because it's not part of the loop. Are you following? Okay. So even if ibutang na mo na siya dira, the hello will not become ever part of the loop unless unless I will indicate here something like this one. So that's the that is now what we call compound statements. We have now two statements inside of a loop. Therefore, this will be read as one hello, two hello, three hello, four hello, 10 hello. Kasi Java is really critical with the exclusivity. Whenever you put inside of, mo na siyang important sa Java eh. Oh, this one's kani siya. Kani mga curly braces. Whenever it's put inside of the curly braces, it will become part of it forever. Sana all meant forever. Pang codes, no? Meant forever. Yeah. Unless you will take that one out, it will not become part of you anymore. Chart, no? So, ang wala, panghugot na lang yung programming, no? So, do you get it? Okay, so now let's trace the program one by one. Let's erase this one and then let's put this one back. Pwede ninyo siya i-declare lang as like I is equal to 1 ba or I don't know. And you have the option also to put there I is equal to 1. To make it simpler, let's have this part of the loops, no, para you will understand better. So of course, the first one is the initial value. Usually initial value is the start of the loop. So what's the start of the loop? What's the value of the I? Starts at value 1. And that is always, it means that the I is declared as 1, meaning we're going to begin and start our loop at 1. Okay, good. Okay, the next part of the loop is this one. So in some book, this is called condition, but I would prefer this as expression or called as an expression. An expression is evaluated either true or a false statement. Okay, it will be evaluated as true or false statement. So now since this will be evaluated as true or false, every time it is true, the loop goes on and on and on. Okay, when it is false, the loop, of course, this loop will end or exit and stop its execution. All right. So to make it simpler, we can call this one as the parang ending value. Okay. In a usual loop, of course, the book that will not tell you that's the ending value. But you have here the start value 1. You have now the ending value, which is equal to 10. This means that the loop is expected to display 1 to 10 numbers. Tama? So it's just, if that's how you look a loop, and it would be easier for you to actually trace the program without even looking at it as tracing one by one, one per line. Okay? Now, the last statement of the loop is this one. Kanio? So this one is called, of course, increment or decrement. No? Increment or decrement. Increment, if it means it goes up. Decrement means it goes down. So in a simple term, I plus plus is incrementation. I minus minus is decrementation. Yeah, that's it, no? By the way, there are some languages that does not support I plus plus or I minus minus. Tama? Like even this one, no? Minus minus I, this is pre-increment, decrement, that is post-increment. So, sa memory nimo mauna siya og deduct or minus or subtract or let's say add, then before reading that particular line. Unlike sa plus I plus plus, it means it has to be the line, that line should be read and then before it updates its value. Unlike this one, no? So if you are going to see this one in the future, like mga other codes na plus plus I, so in which probably you will really see that. Okay, and in a simple term for me, this is what I call it as update statement. No, update statement. So going back to the simple term that I have told you, I have here the ano yung una? Start, the beginning. So it starts at 1, the ending value is 10, and that what is the update statement? Plus, no? Or yeah, I plus plus, it means it will increment by 1. Okay, it will increment by 1. If ever you are going to do this like other way to actually write it is I plus equals to 1 or I is equal to I plus 1. Okay? So meaning, pag I plus plus, it means by 1. Okay? But if ever you want to increment by 2, then you will just have to change this to 2 or to 2. So you're no longer using I plus plus anymore. Because I plus plus is only intended for incrementation of 1. Yes, 1 lang. Kung I minus minus, that means decrement by 1. Later on, we're going to try it also. Pero if you want to increment by 2, by 3, by 4, you will do this one. You will use this kind of statement. Yes, there is also. You just have to change the value here. Of course, the easier one, which is in mathematics, this is what we usually write, tama? So sa programming, it's shorthand notation for that is this one or either like this. Just in case you will see, to eradicate confusions, tama? No? So okay, like this is only what I have taught you, and this is only what you learn at school. And then what if you will find something in the online? At least you're able to also learn it from here. Okay. Anyway, before I will accommodate questions. Okay, let's continue with this one. If you guys want the display na in a horizontal manner, tama, no? Horizontal. You just have to erase ln in your program. So ano na siya? 1, 2, 10. Oh, pababa manggod siya. Pwede. Pwede rin printf. Ang printf man is print format just in case na we use print format for like you want to display 2 decimal places, pero in Python is really easy kay you'll have just to use colon 2, point 2f, colon point 2f, something like that. No, di ba? Sa Python mas dali. But it's actually the same. It's almost the same. Sa Python, there are actually a lot of ways. But in Java, it's like we have only a few of ways. No? All right. So going back from 1 to 10, and then the update statement is by 1, it means that the display would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up to 10. Diba? Easier to trace. If you as a student read that way. Okay? Kasi it takes really reading to know programming. Like you really have to know how to trace. And by just by using by mind lang without even doing some like writing, which is really that's sugarcoating. Mas important ko na siya. Okay? So balik tayo 1. So 1 less than or equal to 10, that's true. Therefore, i-display niya ang first value of the print statement, which is I. Then, next na naman, increment ang I by 1. 1 plus 1, it becomes 2. Display na naman niya ang 2. 2 is less than or equal to 10. That's true. 3. 3 less than or equal to 10. That's true. Display. Update by 1. It becomes 4. 4 is less than or equal to 10. That's true. Update, print, and then update by 1. It becomes 5. So on and so forth. When I becomes 11, which is in this case, that means that the loop is going to end now. So yeah, that's it. Any further or follow-up follow-up questions. Kung i-infinite mo siya, there are many possible ways. Una, if you are going to like decrement this, like because the I is not going to update and meet 10. Instead kasi mag ano siya, mag-subtract, no? From 1 to negative, from 0, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. So dili sila mag-meet halfway ni 10. So this is an example of also of an infinite loop. Okay? So ayan, infinite na siya. Taas 10 siya na program, ayan. It's a never ending loop, no? So yeah, sa loop na ay infinite, na ay forever. Now anyway, if you want to really have an infinite loop, actually kanay. So infinite loop ni siya. Like with colon, meaning you don't have any expressions, you don't have anything there in your program. So
Sa sunod yun, diagram siya sa class. Like sa method,
sa method natin ilagay this one, I is equal to 1, something like that. Pwede rin. Pero wala kang expression to make something that the loop should stop. Pwede rin. Okay? So, in fact, ayan, infinite loop na siya. Wala siyang increment, walang update of statement, wala din siyang expression. So, most definitely, all one siya displaying to the end. No? So, infinite to the infinity rather. So, yeah. You can always change the value of your I here. Like if you want to start with 2, and then you want to increment by is equal to 2. So this would display even numbers, no? So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 until 100. So because the beginning value starts at 2, it ends at 100, and the increment is by 2. So that means 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So if you see already the pattern, then that's really good what we call this one, mind reading for you, no? So you're now using your mind, just looking at it without even calculating or something. And that's what we should have learned. I mean, that's what we should have mastered. Okay? Kasi iba kasi yung dapat, iba yung you're able to write at the same time you understand what you are writing. Rather than you don't understand what you're writing, you're simply uh, experimenting only. Experiment, but you could learn out of an experiment. What I mean by experiment? Mag-test of any expression until it will really use up your time. Kasi nga, you don't think and you don't understand whatever you're writing. Iba din kasi yung coding, kasi coding means you're able to actually trace and expect whatever is the outcome or output of your program while you are still writing your programs. And it will really come, no, in the future, maano na niyo while once you practice doing it. Anyway, do you have any follow-up question?
Sir, string ang ginagamit for
String? What do you mean string ang
as so value natin sa
okay? If that is the case, in Java, unlike in Python, di ba? For then you just have to use the list inside of it, and then assign the value to it, and then you can display automatically. In Java, you cannot actually do that, but if you use array objects or what they call this one, a list algorithm like vector, uh, array list, you can actually do that. So it's like I'll give you sample to for that. So if let's say I'm gonna use array. So let's say R, or let's say values na lang or elements. Then I'll have here something like apple, banana, or any types of any kinds of fruits. And then I'll have here orange. So for in if you guys want to create I mean to display this all of this using loops, you can use for each loop. So ito na yung sinasabi kong for each loop. So sa PHP, no, really ito yung most used na loop in PHP. So you just have to do something like val and then elements, and then you can display something like val instead of. But if you guys want to use index base, you can do this by something like elements. Sorry. Elements, tapos you use the I. If ang loop mo is, sige, gawan ko na lang din kayo ng loop with index base. Ito for each loop, then normal loop. Ito yung normal loop. I'm gonna be using this one. Copy paste ko lang. And then I write it here. And then I'll start with 1. And then let's say elements. Okay. That length. I have elements. Elements. Is my spelling correct? Tama naman, no? So, hindi na nagana yung code completion. And then I'll display something like, balik ko sa ln, and then elements, then I. So this is using index base. Okay. The other one is using for each loop. It depends on you, no? If you which one you should follow. Is that am I answering the question? So you can do like this. 1 to the length of the loop, which is by that we have only 3 elements, meaning the size or the length of our array is 3. Using index base, you just have to loop all throughout from dapat 0. All throughout from the beginning, which is 0, up to the length of the length of your elements no array. So most definitely it will display all the elements apple, banana, orange. While this one here the same, only that you don't use index. So is that what you're trying to mean? Hmm? What do you mean? Kung 1, ikasali si apple. Si banana lang kasi 0 mag-start ang index. Oo. Just in case, no? 1, try natin 1. So, display siya apple, banana, banana. Pero may apple ito sa last. Yung ano, ito yung sa for each loop. Start siya with apple. Pero yung sa normal loop natin, start na siya with banana. Kasi nga 1. Okay? Tapos, unsa pa? Yeah, they're index out of bounds. Usually, are you familiar with index out of bounds? Not. Okay. Anyway, array na to, unlike in Python, in Java, we are really we have to really learn that in Java it is usually ang error na mag ano natin is array index out of bounds. Whenever how many elements of loop do we have now? Only 3, no? So that is 0 to 2, tama? Ang index natin 0 to 2. If ever you will do something like equals for this one, so 0 to 2, so kasali na ang 3 by then. So if that is the case, may error yan siya. And don't be afraid with error kasi in Java, errors are thrown. In fact, pwede na ito na i-catch. Okay, so that's a good thing about errors, no? In Java. Gina-throw niya because guide go si Java, no? Garbage in, garbage out. So this particular errors are thrown, pero it's up to you, to us, if we're going to catch this one or not. So using try and catch, pwede. Pero for now, hindi na muna natin isali yung try and catch. But that's the error normally pag array, index out of bounds. Meaning there's no such thing as location for that specific location. So yeah, it's like your RAM, familiar man ta with our RAM, if in case there is new program being run or being opened by you, whenever it is passed by our CPU to our RAM, and when our RAM doesn't have any more address to cater, then it will not be accepted. So once it is accepted, mag blue screen of death ito ang program, ato ang computers. Wala na may process o cater sa yan na address. Yeah, is there any more question? Really? How about you? You have question? Ikaw, ano, dito. Oh, very good. How about you? Purple can. Purple heart. Wala na. Sige, what if my process tayo within the loop? It's the same, actually, it's the same thing in Python. You will just have to learn the logic, then after which the syntax. I mean, syntax first, and the most important thing there is the logic. No? Diba? So, syntax naman lang mag-change every program, every PL. So, whenever may mga processes tayo, like for an instance, no, ganito, may loop kayo, say you have here, int val is equal to 0, and you're going to do this like plus equals to I. So, I'm going to have, let's say, let's ano lang with from 10. Sige daw. What do you think is the output of this one? For this, no? What do you think is the output of this one? Don't you worry kasi by next time, ay, hindi na pala kayo, no? Yung mga first year ngayon, Python is first PL nila, yung programming tool nila is supposed to be kasi Java dapat. So Java na missing. Para pagdating sa OOP and data structure, hindi na lang ito. Like, no. Kasi Python, you can just learn it by, I mean, by a few weeks lang, pwede na, no? Di ba? Kasi it's really simple. Pang elementaries. Ang only, siguro sa advanced, itong dito na sa machine learning and deep learning, medyo ano ang Python, pero usually given ang mga code sa ano. Anyway, what's the output of that one? So, para mas dili, to make it simple, I want you guys to train yourself reading it. Okay? Kaysa, you cannot do it in Python, right? Dili siya allowed sa Python. I've been trying it in Python, pero dili ko allowed makabuhat ana. So, yeah, ang simplified ani is val plus I. It's like your every time it is, I mean, it, yeah, or something like that. Any will do. So what it does is that every time you add val to it, it will be added every now and then. So it's like passing the new value to val. Whenever you add a new value to val, I mean, sir, whenever you add new value to val, it will update the value of val. It's like you being added by him, dalawa na kayo, and then added by you, tatlo na kayo. Ito siya. So therefore, anong display na? 0 to 10? 0 to 10? Okay. So one way to look at it is, yung display mo isang val lang. Meaning to say, there is only one display for it. Kasi remember, it's not part anymore of, yes, it's not part anymore of the curly braces. So, ito yung ano niya. So, begin siya with 1 to 10, tama? Begin siya with 1, end siya with 10. Update niya is by 1. So now, 1 to 10, but you have the expression here, val plus is equal to I, which is equivalent to val is equal to val plus I. This would mean that the first loop would be your I is 1, then the value of your val is 0. 1 plus 1 plus 0 is actually 1. Okay? The updated value of val is 1. So when I increments by 1, it becomes 2. Okay, so true pa rin siya because 2 is less than or equal to 10. What's the last value of val? No, yung last value ng val kanina, 1. The value of I, 2 na. 2 na from Jensen. 2 na. Okay? 2 plus 1 becomes 3. So 2 plus 1 becomes 3. Therefore, 3 na ang new value for val. Gusto ko i-trace para I could asa natin para maka-appeal po. Nag-appeal sa online or doesn't matter? I-try nag-appeal ka sa Teams. Appeal ka? Pero ang maka-right back na direct isang bili ko mautong pen. Wala mo na kung pen ana ba? I just lost it. I don't know asa to. Okay, para masulat unta nako. Kung nawala jud akong pen ana. Tanaw daw mo detect ba? Kasi if I'm gonna use the glass board, probably all those all these people no who attended online hindi nila makita. Tools lang man andito ako. Wala jud. Dili. Really? Kasi di mo gani detect sa Mac sa pen lang jud lagi. Pen. Naa? Pwede pa? Ay tag mo. Wait lang po. Dito ko nung sama. Ako pwede kung siguro yan. Ay, maluto. Ay, di. Yung ibang pen nakalang ba yung
Wait lang, so kanan. Plus 1 na. Then sa taas, plus 1 na po. Sa 4 ba? Yung nag-start, di ba, ano, sa 3 naman na. 12 plus 1. 1 na.
Oh,
Yan, maniyangan sa bike. Oo, asa mo dito pa kawan.
ganit, ganun na yun.
Okay.
Charan! I just got one. It's kind of install. Kamano ka mag-setup?
Automatic.
Kasi daw, plug and play na. If plug and play, then that's good. Kani tagdugan, guna akong tantaran good. Ano ba tantaran? Ha? Kinsa. Kanang mga tao nga nagpasakit sa inyo ha, sa atua, dito na to tantaron. Yeah. Sige daw, baka may ano. Anyway, while waiting, papaki-set up ko ha para later on, we're going to do writing somewhere on that side para mas ma-visualize din. Do you have a question? So what's the output of this one? Actually, ang output niya is 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8 plus 9 plus 10. I-total lang nimo ang numbers from 1 to 10 by adding 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5, which is pila? 55. Tama? Tama ba? Comsci people? I guess, yeah, 55, dara. So, sum of, while waiting for the vacuum. All right. Do you guys have questions? Any questions? What you guys are doing? Uy, may keyboard ka. Naglaro ka, no? I will just start.
Sorry. Ay, depende. Dili, ang depende ni mo. Pwede mo naging
Oo, naligaan. Walang iba.
So yung idea of data structure really is gawa tayo ng ADT, yun yung pinaka-importante talaga sa programming, no? Creating abstract data type. Meron na? Are you able? Yay! Okay. So later on, I will allow you to do the screen share. Bali, ikaw yung magti-teach. Okay siya isulat. Ikaw? Sample. Isulat kasi sa pato na buka. Foto ko yung link. Dakong kayo, dili handy. Anyway, so okay na tayo for loop. 55. Kasi i-add niya yung number 1 plus 2, tapos is 3. Tapos 3 plus 3 na naman, 6. 2, tapos plus 3. So 1 plus 2 is 3. Plus 3, plus 4, 10. Oh, plus 5, 15. Plus 6, plus 7, plus 8, plus 9, plus 10. If you guys wanna know how, or pwede naman natin i-display dito na, yeah, we can actually display here. Wala nang syso. Actually, ganito siya. I plus, sorry. Yan. So parang ganyan siya. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5. Wala yan. Ayan, plus 50. Yan yung 50 is the last value kasi mag-end na siya by ano. Anyway, if you want to know so yun no, ganyan. Tapos, let's say, gusto nyo i-display yung alin, yung val every now and then, tingnan natin. Like we will have equals plus val. We would know the update statement. So you have there 1 plus, so parang 1 plus is equal to 1. 1 plus 2, it becomes 3. 3 plus 3 is 6. 6 plus 4, 10. 5 plus 10 is 15. Ito yung, this is what is happening behind the loop. Of course, we don't have to do it. Kasi nga, it's the processing. Diba? Yung outcome, at saka yung process na yung pinakalas, which is 50. So yeah, this is what happens inside the relay. So if in case may mga input kayo dito, you can use console or J option pane, no, mga inputs. Tama ba? So let's say for an instance, gawa tayo ng input statement. So ano na lang natin ito, no? Copy paste and then paste that. Gawa tayo ng iba dito, but this time we'll have here parang sige, let's say we have here J option pane. J option pane. So sa Python lang mahirap yung GUI niya. Dito sa Java mas madali, no? So we have here, ito yung pinaka-easy, of course. Enter number. Right? And then you want to, let's say, may val na lang. So val is, ano natin yung val? I-reuse natin yung val, but it will have to go back to 0. Now this time, since we are going to take input from user, iba din yung sa console ha, scanner yon. But this time, let's say we're going to take input from the user, let's say, nam na lang. So we will do like this. So by the way, sa Java, much better we initialize the value. So num is equal to integer dot parse int, and then cut natin ito, pasok natin dito. Pwede rin hindi, depende sa inyo ha. So, okay, bigyan ko kayo ng idea later on. Paano hindi mo ilagay dyan, sir? Actually, you can have here a string. Let's say string input na lang. So, pag string input, may string ka, ito yung gagawin mo. Input is equal to J option pane dot show input dialog, enter number. Now this time, you will need to parse it para just in case you want i-calculate, gusto mo i-calculate yung input, or ito yung way na it will convert string to int. So pwede rin double, pwede float, depende sa what would you like to achieve. Float that parse float din siya kung gusto niyo float. Kung gusto niyo double that parse double. Basta make sure double ito siya. Okay? Kasi if you are going to use the input directly, let's say we have here val, let's say same yung idea na i-achieve natin dito, but this time we're going to use val, let's say plus equals input. But syempre yung input it's a string. So it's not compatible. Okay? If you guys are not compatible with each other, syempre meron din dito sa Python, okay lang, no? Kasi dynamic. Walang problem with Python. All you just need to do is sa Python, gawin mo lang itong int, something like this one. Ganyan lang sa Python, di ba? Okay, i-parse mo lang to int. This time here, meron talaga siyang parse int, no? Integer that parse int. So, yeah, what I'm trying to say here is, pwede nyo gawin dito na integer that parse int, something like this one. So, you're able to add it to val, kasi val is an integer value or integer. Or otherwise, ito gawin nyo. Then, you are going to use val plus. So, medyo taas ng process, right? Tama? Nakuha? But pinaka-easier way is this one. Anyway, recorded man ito, i-review nyo lang. Pinaka-easier way is this one. Pero may disadvantage lang ito. Pero at least, you can now use the num here instead and remove all these things there automatically. So it's like you take the input and then you parse it directly and then calculate now the value with the num. And this is something like the same pa rin ito sila. Okay, this one and this one are just the same, only that we take we take now the inputs from user. And every time may input ang user, yun yung i-add niya kay val. Rather than 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4. But this time, whatever the user is going to input or enter as a value.
Like the conversion.
Yes. Yes po.
Just to clarify, sir, yung dyan sa ilalim ng is it just sir, yung from a shorter way to ano uh, from receive input user without without setting the string body search.
Yeah. Kasi ito na siya. It's like sa Java kasi yung everything that you're going to enter or input or pass value to GUI are all treated as an object, most likely string. So when you want to calculate that value or when you want to treat that value as an integer, you have to parse it to any value like what we did. So this is now, tama yung sinabi mo. This is a shorter way by instead of by just asking from input from user, which is this one, J option pane, you're now converting it at the same time to integer. Tama ka. It serves your right. And then you can now calculate this to this one. So that's only applicable for UI components. Like JText field. Bawal eh. Pwede, pero wala ka pang input, i-add mo muna si val. Yes. It's like before we add value to val, we'll have to take input muna from the user. So yeah, ang output nito is this will no longer be console. So ito sige, ilagay na lang natin ito sa console sa UI na din. Show message that. Then let's have here val. Or let's say the total na lang. Gawin natin na the total is, something like that. So, we're going to run this one. May mga console na dinidisplay and also here, no? So, we have 5, 7, 8, 12, 56, 78, 90, 23, 56, 67. So the total of all those numbers we entered kay is 402. So sir, is there a possibility na I want to display all those numbers entered by the users para mas maganda, no? So pwede. Yes, you can do it by concatenating it to string. Ito naman yung maganda sa string is you can concatenate it to Python sa Java. Sa Python, I've tried it. You can never, as particular sa C++ din, pwede mo siyang pero i-parse mo siya specifically. Dito sa naman, let's say we have here hold. And then, I'm going to take all those inputs. So let's say num. And then with spaces in between. Again, it's like hold equals hold plus equals num. So, parang ganyan siya. Okay? So, then display natin dito si hold, then \n. So, it's like, and these are the entered numbers, and then the total is of all those numbers entered by the user is val. So, parang ganon. So, tingnan natin. Before pwede natin gawin din ito, enter number, tapos lagyan natin ng pang ilang number na. So, enter number I. Ayan. So, check natin. So, may numbering na siya para we would know. Pero ang double quotation lang is nauna. Pero anyway, enter number pang-una, 1. So, let's say 23. Enter number 2, 54. Enter number 78. 67, 45, 14, 18, 20. So is dalawa na lang, 90 and then 100. So yan. These are the numbers entered by you. The total number is 509. So yeah, that is this code. Okay, so what it does, ito yung sinasabi natin na concept about concatenation. So ano yung concatenation? Number plus the string or string plus string is concatenated. Or in Bisaya, gisumpay. In Tagalog, ano yan sa Tagalog? Ha? Binugtong. Oo. Bugtong. Sa mukha eh. Just in case, kasi siya ay hindi understand ng Bisaya. Si ano din? Si purple guy. Can you understand Bisaya? Not that much. But you only, you know a little Bisaya. Konti. Ikaw? Kailangan understand ka. Ikaw? Siyempre kayo dato, kanina pa tayo ng Bisaya, no? Kasi yung Indian po. And for rights, itaw? So, yeah. Any more question? Salud. Okay, what else? Ano pa? Ano pang mga concepts na gusto nyo ipa-review? Sige, go ahead. Getters? OOP. Anong, sana kayo sa OOP ninyo? Basic Java. So, doon na lang kayo sa basic sa Java. That's good. Sabi ko kasi kay ma'am, ikaw na lang mag-review sa second year ng Java, ma'am, before kayo mag-OOP kasi yung OOP, 4 na concepts lang man. Sa akin, ang daming algorithm. So, hindi na ako mag-review. So, pero at least, I will ask it from you. So, si ma'am na lang bahala niyo mag-review. Anyway, do you have any more questions? Silent yung may pabuhat sa kuha. Sige. So, let's now have, invite natin yung ano be? Other section. Baka tapos na sa synchronous nila or baka hindi. Saan nga ulit kunin yung link for meeting? Ha? I-send nyo. Baka gusto nyo sumali daw. Nag-send na, pero ano lang sila? Sabihin nyo, nag-review tayo ng ano. Anyway, so let's now proceed with, are you guys okay with ADTs or hindi pa? Abstract data type. Wala. Sige. Supposed to be ito yung last klase natin. Anyway, sige. Anyway, anyhow na po. Alright, so wala na talaga. Methods, loop, array. Wala na kayong ipa-review? Array? You want to have a review on array? Is it okay if I'm gonna be sitting? Okay lang? Okay, sakit ang tuhod ako. Alright, so just in case may mga questions please tingnan natin sa online. Baka may mga questions. Sabihan niyo ako pag may mga questions sa online. Itong mga nasa online, ewan ko sa kanila. Bakit nag-assume sila na wala ako? Mga assumer. Okay, array muna tapos anong time na ba? Kaya pa to? Array. So, yeah, array na ko. I believe so in Python, array is imported as like import R as array, diba? This is how you will do it in part or from array import R. Ayan, something like that. Baliktad ba? O yan. Ay, wala na pala ganito. Okay, basta that is how you do it in if just in case may kayo. Kasi there's no such thing there as like array as a built-in list, as a built-in object in Python. So you will need to really import it. Pero yung list algorithm, it's actually an array. No, 'di ba sa Python we have there really easier kasi you'll just have to do this one. Let's say you have list equals to like this. So this is how you declare array in Python. But this is particularly a list, tama? No? And then you have also ano ito sa Python? Set set ba? Tapos yung ganito dictionary, no? Tama ba? Kalimot na mo? Ha, pag sure oy na mo ana. Kalimot na siguro mo. Anyway, sa in Java, the these are the or this is rather this is the declaration of array. If you want to, make an array object, as simple as that. So meaning to say, this num now is an object anymore. So you have there the length. Okay, but we never specify how much size of our array for this one. Okay, so this is declaration. Wrong spelling, wrong. Mali ang keyboard. All right. Okay, another one is, let's say val equals to, let's say we have new int. So this is saying that you are creating an object. So this is instantiating. So this means you are instantiating your array to have object val with size of 10. Okay, so new int 10. All right. If you are going to do this one, let's say lm stands for elements is equal to like this. So 23, 45, 56, 100, 99, 12, 35. So this is what we call initialization. So it's very important for you to name the conventions, no? So you have declaration, you just have declare it as an array. You declare instantiate, you have now size associated with your array. And this one, these are elements, initialize to your elements. So if you're going to ask me, anong size or length of num? Walang length si num. How about si val? 10. How about si lm? You just have to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 yung length ni lm. Okay. But of course, we usually or normally do this ganito. So itong num, paano yan sir if I'm going to assign a size for that? So ganito gawin nyo. New num is equal to new int, let's say 100. So now, num has now 100 size or capacity. So array is fixed. It's not dynamic. Okay? So if you're going to ask me, sir, may dynamic arrays pa si Java? Yes, madami rin. If Python have list, dictionary, sets, and what's the other one? Of apat yan sila. Si Java, marami din siya. Linked list, array list, vectors, and even stack, no, na mga list. Okay, so we're going to discuss more of that in the future. But for now, let's have this as fixed array, okay, which is array. So let's say we're going to take input to sorry, okay na yan ha. Let's have use this one. Ito na lang. Ito na gamitin natin. So ito natin ilagay. And then let's say we're going to take input from the user. Okay, so let's have here 4. Control space enter lang siya para madali. Then we'll take input from the user the user, the other. So we'll have here, I know, tama na pala. Let's have here val I is equal to integer that parse int. Okay, J option pane that show input dialog. So by the way, if you guys don't want to have a long lines of codes, pwede ninyo to instantiate here like ganito. J option pane, J is equal to new J option pane, but I would not recommend you doing this. So this is actually instantiation pa rin. Whenever there is new keyword instantiation yan siya. So what it will tell you is that instead of J option pane ilagay dito, J na lang para mas madali. So yun, pwede ka na maggawa nito input element. Yan, pwedeng ganon, no? And then, yeah, so that's it. May input na tayo. And then what do we do with the input? Let's say you want to display this. So pwedeng gawa din kayo ng isang loop. So let's say display. So from here, we can have here string hold para i-concatenate natin siya. So we'll have here hold plus equals to val I, and then let's have what we call this one, a space in between. And then after which, display natin sa show message. Show message. And then we have here null and then the elements plus hold. Okay, sige, question muna. So we have the input, we have the display for this program. So ito yung input, then display. Online people na questions. Ilang ano ba attendees from online? Konti langan kayo, yung first, yung comsci ko ang madami, no? Yeah, so yeah, yan ang R. Actually, almost the same siya sa, not almost, but it's actually the same sa Python. Ah? Ay, oo, sige, sige. Kasi UI naman good. Anyway, this one null here is a parent component. So we don't have any UI component man. Like it could be JFrame, a text field, combo box, yung mga other UI component. But since we don't have any, null muna. Null lang ilagay natin. So meaning we don't specify any parent component of J option pane. It's like, ano ba? It's like, ganito siya. If you're going to, if you're going to put here, let's say this is text field, and this is JFrame. If you're going to put the JText field show message dialog box to JFrame instead of JText field. So si show message dialog box, yung parent component niya si JFrame. So parang it will be placed at the center. Pero pag sa JText field mo siya ilagay, na dito nalagay si JFrame, itong J option pane mo, like JText field here, dito siya mag-position. Pero pag hindi, ang position niya dito show message dialog will be at the center. Kasi sa JFrame siya ang parent component. Pero for now, take it as it is muna, null. Okay? Saan ang guard? Ningon, baba daw na. So what else? Ano pa? Ano pa gawin nito sa array? If you want to edit or parang you want to do searching for, let's say, ask tayo ng anong index hanapin ninyo or value. So you can have any, assuming this is input. So meaning we ask the user to input what index value he or she wants to retrieve. So ito lang gawin ninyo. So then element at index, let's say index is old. So yeah, sabi dito is element at index 4 is dili hold is dapat val index. So whatever value ng index 4 ilalabas niya dito, that element at index 4 is val index, which is the value of that index particularly. Gets class. So pag i-change natin yung value of that particular index, let's say 3 ba, or let's say yung sa index na lang, then let's assume also na i-change natin by 500, pwede din ganun. So meaning to say, value at index, in this case, index 4 is replaced by 500. So as new value. So new value na yung index 4. Assuming 4 is an input. So you can have it also 2, 1, or 3. Ang removal or remove, there's no such thing as remove in array. You will be the one to do that. Oo, so kayo gagawa ng remove algorithm for array. Pero pang array list vector, yun, mas madali. My question? Do you guys have questions? Andun kayo sa GC nyo lahat. Okay. Pero mga ilan kayo doon? Second year na CCIS, no? Mga 50. Sige. Yeah, may question? Sino yung may question? Mag-CR ka. Okay. Go ahead. Okay, sige. Gallbladder break, water break, ano muna. And then later on, we're going to discuss abstract data type. Okay? Break muna, guys. Yung mga nasa online, pwede kayong kumain, kahit kumain na kayo. Pwedeng umihi, kahit that is what you are doing right now. Pwedeng maligo. Online pips, okay, break muna. Sige, pag ano sa practice na sa mo dila, guys. Inom sa putong water. Tapos mag-snacks mo, luto mo. Eat yourself.
Dapat ano, i-apply sir. Dapat pinag-impression na. Sir, ada si sir. Ako mag-bullet ko. Sa doon. Oh,
Alright, sige. So, let's okay na? Asan na 'to si purple, pa? Okay, so welcome to set 2. Set 2 na set 1 day, sir. Yeah, so I have, what they call this one? So, let's instead of ADT, let's have, gawin na natin siyang i-synchronous na lang natin yung ADT. So, let's have the topic for this week para we are able to cope up the lessons. Gano'n na lang. Sige. So, I want you guys to do it at your own sa PC nyo din para mas ano din, para mas may copy kayo with regards to our programs. Okay, so to continue, we're going to discuss the sorting algorithms. All right, so to start with, the sorting algorithm is an array application, and it's the one of the most important concepts in learning arrays, particularly because there are actually a lot of logical happening inside of which, and also the good thing about sorting algorithm, it's also going to train us, our brain, to to understand them, and by understanding them we're able to develop enhance and develop our logical thinking in terms of the manipulating numbers, or instead in terms of processing numbers. Right. So sorting algorithms are actually algorithms that are used to arrange numbers, not text ba, string, or data in a in an order manner, either in ascending or descending. So ascending means from lowest to highest, descending from highest to lowest. So if you can ever imagine, there are actually a lot of sorting algorithms applied in most in applications. Now, like for an instance, in spreadsheets, particularly in MS Excel. So it's one of the most important plugins, or let's say module or unit in spreadsheets, where we can actually arrange the data in order, particularly pag ma-arrange tayo ng names in ascending or descending, no? And then also in sorting algorithm, it's also one way to easily search highest value, lowest value, because again, we are able to arrange them. If let's say in ascending order, the highest value is the last value, and then in descending or ascending, the first value should be the lowest value. So isa na, no? So and then there are actually a lot of applications that does sorting. Okay? So one of the types of sorting are, I mean, there are actually a lot of sorting algorithms available. You can look in the internet. You have bubble sort, you have exchange sort, you have insertion sort, you have heap sort, quick sort, and merge sort. And there are actually more of sorting algorithms. Now let's discuss about the lowest sorting algorithm, the lowest and the simplest. We call it bubble sort. Okay. So how is the sorting algorithm in terms of bubble sort is done? Ano ba na sa kuha? Mag-install pa ko driver. Okay. Sa imo na lang. Pero unsa nga driver to? Ako. Dili na lang. Selfie? Wait. Install muna tayo. Wacom bra lagi. Wacom drive. Ay, Wacom bra di ay. This one? City. Andito siya, wala. CLT? CLT. Wacom in N or IN? Tuwas, anak. Tapos, for an end. Okay. Yun, okay. Nah, basindugay ni ay, yun, dali naman ay. Pas mo na itong net di ay. Oh. So this is not part of the topic. Just to remind lang. Baka installation is okay, anyway, just for me to na-appeal unique record. Wa mo ko'y post dire, no? Wala post dire. Anyway, so now let's go to saan ba yung ano? Ay, okay, mag-paint na lang ko, no? Ay, okay, paint dire. Word na lang. So, yan, well. Wala na ako yung storage. Ipag ano na ako nidaan install ganina da. So click continue. This will take 258.5 MB to the computer. Install. Okay na niyan daw, be. Check na to. Wala pa dahil. Charan. 2 minutes. Home size sa anong no? Anong year ka? Anong subject course? Subject. Data structure. Tingnan natin, be. GSA mo. May anong oras klase nyo?
4 to 5.
4 to 5? 4 na ba? Wala pa
Wala
naman.
pa
Later siguro. CS 100P. Mamaya. Okay, thank you. Welcome.
Thank you.
May anong oras tapos klase natin? 5, no? Sa kanila 4. Conflict. No, ewan. Baka, or ewan pa sa kanila. Or baka is lost. Wala. Napay security mo ha? Wala na. Ambak pa si ano? Daw? Ano pa niyang security? Yes, sinani siya ka stricto o wala. Asa na tong settings niya? Kailangan pa daw niya this one. Actually, ang PC na ako sa balay Windows man. Kay katulagi mo gana katulad man. Nag-bootcamp pang kuan but ano lagi? Patay, di pa yun makita. Ayan, dala. Napadyo siya inani. Di ka basa-basa maka-install. Di pa dyan magamit kung dili ni mo siya inanoon. Okay, sige. Murag okay na ni siya. Yun. Sige. Alright, so let's talk about bubble sorts. So, man pang ano? Kung baguhan mo ko niya. So, we have bubble sort. Okay, so actually bubble sort is one of the simplest and ugliest, no? I mean simplest and the slowest algorithm, sorting algorithm. So let's say we have a series of numbers like, sige, give me numbers, random numbers daw. 100. O sige, what else? Nagkuha po ninyong number, oy. Pwede ka nang tag 5 lang, 3, anak. 7, okay. 9. Ayun ang pasunod. 6. To. To. What else? Ha? 69? Sige, ganahan ka na. Isa pa. 11. 8. 8 daw? 8. Okay. How many numbers do we have now? 8, tama? 8. 8 numbers. Sige. Yeah, tama. Let's have these numbers. Okay. So if you guys want to sort these numbers using bubble sort, all you just need to do is compare the first two elements, and when it is in the right position or when they are in the right position, there will be no swapping happen. Okay? So now, since depending on what we are going to achieve, if we're going to achieve ascending, then therefore, we're going to compare either 100 if it's greater than 7. So if it is, then therefore it is true, we'll have to swap 10 and 7. So let's say we're going to achieve ascending order. So let's say 10 is greater than 7. True or false? True, di ba? So since it is true, we're going to swap 107. Therefore, 7 will be here and 100 will swap its location. 107 will be swapped. Okay, next, 100 will be compared to 9. Is 100 greater than 9? That is still true. Therefore, erase. Therefore, I'm gonna erase 100 and replace it with 9. So we have here 100. Sorry, sorry. So we have here 9 and then 100 are actually swapped. So actually the same with, di na ako isulat si 100 be. So we have 106. So we have 6 and 100. So we have 2 and 100. But again ang swapping niya is 100 by 100 is greater than 2. So we have here 2. So 100 pa rin yung base natin. 169. Okay, actually isulat na lang natin lahat. Okay, 11, 8, and then 100. Okay, so this is the first swap pa lang, first loop pa lang siya. Okay? Is it sorted? Not yet. So actually, even if it's sorted, see, bubble sort does not settle to, does not exit the loop. Instead, it will continue. Why? Kasi it has to guarantee visiting all. So meaning, you will go back from here, 7 is greater than 9. Tapusin niya ito. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 loops din ang gagawin ni bubble sort. Whenever it is sorted or even if it's sorted. So now let's compare 7 and 9. Is 7 greater than 9? False. Therefore, so false na siya. Therefore, 7 and 9 will remain to its location or position. How about 9 and 6? So yes. Amen. So we have here 6 and then we have here 9. How about, my goodness. How about 9 and 2? So we have 2 and then we have 9. How about 9 and 69? They are no swapping happen. Okay, how about 69 and 11? So swap pa rin si. So by the way, ang ano niya is bubble up 11 and then swap it with 69. So 11 69 ba dapat yun, no? So 11 and then we have here 69. So bubble up 8 kasi si 69 is greater than 8, tama? So you have here, let's go back here. May shortcut ba ito? Ha? Ang snap ko ay na. Ay na, wag na lang, balik na lang ako dito. So we have here, ano na 'yon? 8 and 69, no? And then 69. 69 and 100? Okay, no. So therefore, 69 and 100, no. Okay. All right, this is now the second loop. Okay. Proceed tayo with this list of elements of our array. So we have 7 and 6. Are they in the proper location or is 7 greater than 6? Yes, true. So swap 6 and 7. 7 and 2, erase, napunta. Then we have here 2, and then we have here 7. Is 7 and 9, are they in proper location? Yes. No? How about 9 and 11? Yes. How about 8 and 11? So 8 here, 11 here. How about 11 and 69? Yes. How about 69 and 100? Yes. Taas na din. So now, third, this is what we call far sorted kasi ang tagal niya masort. How about 6 and 2? Okay. So, true, no? Di ba? 6 and 7? Okay na siya. 7 and 9? Yes. How about 9 and 8? So, true. Therefore, 8 and 9. 9 and 11? 11 and 69? 69 and 100. Yan. All false, false. Okay. Is it now sorted? Yes. Okay. Sorted na siya. However, the for loop will with the bubble sort will still continue looping, iterating it kasi tapusin niya dapat yung 8 loopings. So 2 and 6 true, 2 and 6, 6 and 7, 7 and 8, 8 and 9, tapusin niya talaga yan 11, 69, 100. So ayan until matapos niya ang 6th, 7th, and then we have 8. So which is the same. O the same, alam niyo man ito na ano no symbol? Yan, the same yan sila. So, gawin natin ngayon. Okay. Saan? Dito. Okay. All right. So, let's have here. So, gawin natin. Saan na yung mga numbers na binigay nyo? 7, 107, 9. So, we have here int num equals 107, 9. Ano pa yon? 6 to 69. So 6 to 69. And then we have 11 and then 8. 11 and then we have 8. All right. So now we'll have to have loops here. So if you're using Eclipse, type 4, tapos choose use index and array on array, then enter. It will do that for you now. Okay, so pwedeng ganyan. And then copy paste, and then let's say let's change this to ano na lang. Then you have here A na lang natin. Lagyan natin ng mga ano end of outer. Okay. So for now, the algorithm says that the bubble sort will compare each of the element, and then whenever there are locations that there are numbers that are not in their positions or proper locations, we'll have to swap them together. So in order for us to do that, we'll have to create a variable that says temporary or temporary variable. So temporary variable is used to hold variable. It's a variable that is used to hold temporarily in order for us to do the swapping safely. Kasi if you don't include a temporary variable, you are probably gonna lost the or you're gonna probably lost the what they call this one, the data, because it's replaced without passing it to a temporary variable. So yun yung mangyayari sa arrays natin. So you have to be really critical on that. So in order for us to do that, we'll have to get the value if, let's say num a. So based sa ato ang ano kanina algorithm is we compare the first element to the next element. So if num a greater than num a plus 1, okay, and then let's have here end of if, yan, para di tayo mawala. So we'll have to pass the the variable, so num a plus 1. So why do we have to have a plus 1 here? It's because we're going to compare 107. So the a is 0 and the 7 is 1. So a plus 1, 0 plus 1 is 1. Index 0 and index 1 are now compared. And whenever this is true, then therefore the new value for temp will be the value which is contiguous next, or the element contiguous to it. Kumbaga, what's the other term for that in mathematics? It's like the next element after the element being compared. Sige. Next is we are now ready or safe to actually change or do the swapping. So this is now where the swapping comes in by replacing the value of num with the a, and then after which we're going to have the newest value for the num a or 0 for first loop coming from temp. Ayan. So now we're going to and this will be repeatedly done until such time na matapos yung loop. Okay? So check natin if we are able to create what you call this one, for control space, use index and array. Ayan. And then let's have here, let's say, lagay natin siya sa J option pane. So we have here hold plus equals num I. Let me try muna lang. Yeah, so it's now being sorted actually. Pardon? I, I, sige, try nyo if ever na ano ba niya? Sort ba niya using backward sort? Okay, sige. Sort. 1,000. Okay. Example counts wala pa. Last week. Kasi nag-plus 1 mangunta. Yeah, oo. Kaya nag-out of bounds siya kasi 1, a plus 1. So pag dating niya dyan, pag bulag yan equals. Yan. Yan. Pati doon. Index out of bounds talaga niya. Sagyan mo ito minus 1 kasi nag-plus 1 tayo. Ay, display mo muna yung code. Kung gusto mo console, gusto mo tayong ganito. Ano? Dito sa after loop 2. Ayan. Good. Boss, ha? Ano sa? Asa? Ano ba na? Ay, Netflix din, no? Right click daw na. Yan, run file. Ginahanin mo. Mention mo siya ng run file. Ay. Ito na. Ay, wala na ito, ah. Ari index of bounds. Ay. Sorry. Plus minus 1. Kaya 8 plus 1. Kasi 0 man ino. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. So 7 man yung index last, di ba? So, abot mo siya ka 7 na index plus 1, yung 8. So, wala na may elements. Oo. Di, nabuto mo siya ika-8, pero dili na siya tama na yung minus 1. Level mo. Kaya mag-plus 1 man ta para ma-access natin.
Pero sa Eclipse na lang po ito.
Dili, kami na. Mo man niya yung algo niya. So, no matter kung saan yung gamit. Wala mo, ah. Okay. Kasi ilagay mo siya doon sa line 25. Ang loop mo. Kanang string hold na from there. Tapos itat mo siya. Tapos butang siya sa after line 22.
Nakakang Jeff sa
Ano siya? Yung option pay, wala naggawas. Wala mo naggawas yung option pay.
Line kami zero. Sorry, it's got a lot of
I read that. Kita na nila. What yung sarili niyang sorting. Ano daw? Apel sa exam. Practical. Practical. Review na ako pero it's like wala yata. Sa written siya appeal. Ang idea na, ang ano niya is the sorting list. It's like what we did earlier, ito yung kasali sa exam. So now, let's see if tama ba yung elements of swapping every now and then sa list or dito na every now and then. Let's get to see if ever tama ba itong swapping natin. Okay, how do we do that? So ganito yung gawin natin. But for now, allow me to discuss. First is, so ito yung nangyari using bubble sort. Kaya naglagay tayo ng -1 dito. It's because anong last index ng num? So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So since to the length, we'll have to put -1 kasi whenever mag-add tayo ng +1, 7 plus 1 is now 8. Therefore, index 8 siya. So masali yung index 8, which is supposed to be walang index 8. So mag-error yung Java index out of bounds. So why does it have to do that, sir? Kasi nga we compare the element next to it. If you're going to compare the element next to it, 11 and 8, and then we don't put -1, therefore 8 and it will assume that there is another element after 8, but actually there's none. Do you get it? Okay, that's the first one. So if you try to look at it, yung algo niya is first out yung outer loop natin is it reads from 0 to the length, while the inner loop is it reads from 0 to 7 lang siya, or index minus 1, or the length minus 1, which is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 minus 1, so 6 times lang niya i-loop. Okay? So now, this is where the swapping happens. So ito yung sinasabi natin kanina na what is the value of num A? 0. What is the value of A plus 1? 0 plus 1 is actually 1. So index 0 natin is 100 and index 7 na as 1 natin is 7. Therefore, 100 is 100 greater than 7. Okay, so we have here 100 is greater than 7. That is actually true. Okay, therefore, since true, it will have to swap the value 107. But before it swaps, we have here the temporary variable, which means that, or which says that the temporary variable would have to store the value of a plus 1. What is the value of a plus 1 na index? 7, right? Am I correct? Diba? Si a plus 1 is 1, tama? 0 plus 1 is 1. Tama ba? Okay. So what's index 1? 7. So therefore, it will get the 7 temporarily. Okay. Now, we are going to replace the same value which we get the value from and store to temp. So this time, the value of your num a plus 1, which is actually 1, is now what? 100. And the value of num, which is yung num 0 mo, is now 7. So na-swap na si 7 and 100. Sir, paano, pwede bang ganito, sir? Like num A is equal to A plus 1, wala nang temp? Hindi pwede. Kasi nga, when you do this one directly, yung 7 will replace 100. Therefore, wala nang 100. Do you follow? Oh, yes. Mawala ang 100. Yes. Okay, that is why kailangan ng third party variable. Okay, variable, no? 'Di ba yung mga third party mostly sila yung sila yung replacement. Oh. But again, what I'm trying to say here is we need third party variable. Okay? Hindi person, no? Hindi third party variable in order for us to successfully swap the values. Now, it has to repeat the process over and over again together with the comparison as well as the swapping. So let's try one more para ano ninyo. So now, the newest element, the newest value now after first turn, dito pa yang sa inner loop ha, after first turn will be 7, 100, 9, 6, 2, 69, 11, and 8. So, the value of A will increment by 1. Tama? So, the value of A will increment by 1. It becomes 1. So, 1 na naman tayo. 1 and 2. Index 1 and 2 na naman tayo. Which is this. Ito na naman si 109. Okay? Diba? Imagine that is what your compiler do. Inana kadaghan ang iyahang repetition. Inana kadag. How much more? Let's say we only have 8 numbers. What about 1 million numbers na that is going to be sorted? Or imagine what we give to our compilers, to our RAM. Affected si memory niyan. So that is why data structures is being able to make that time make the save up some time, no? If ever same number, it will not it doesn't matter because again 7 and greater than 7 either will whoever comes first. Oh, if whichever comes first walang pakialam. So unless maglagay ka ng equal dito, they're swapping. Pero it doesn't matter when you do swapping pa kasi they either way around. Either way naman, di ba 7 is really equal to 7. It doesn't matter whichever comes first. So we don't have to put equal muna dito. So that's the idea there. So ito na naman 109. Not this one ha, but 7 since 7 and 100 are swapped. So 109 na naman. So 109, that's still true. This is 9. This is index 2. So therefore, this is 100, and this is index 1, and this is 9. Therefore, the next elements or the final elements after second loop will be 9, 100, 6, 2, 69, 11, and 8. And actually, for all the rest of the numbers, since 100 is greater than its elements after, so it will do this kind of swapping. So, ubusin niya yan lahat. Making it yung kanina ginawa natin na 100, 7, 9, 6, 2, 69, 11, and 8. Supposed to be, dapat ito yung ma-arrive natin every end of this loop pa lang. Then the other loop, which is yung outer loop natin, will take turns naman. It will become 1. So, when it becomes 1, yung gagawin na naman niya is balik na naman siya dito for swapping, for another comparison. So that is 7. If this is 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and this is 7 kasi minus 1, how 8 times 7 is how many? 56. Therefore, 56 times nag-loop siya. So imagine, with that numbers lang, more or less 56 loops. So how do we know that, sir, kung tama ba itong numbers natin? Okay, tingnan natin. Wait, sa Python, the same pa rin. Algo, the same algo. Walang ano. It will not change. The algo is still the same. Kahit Python pa gawin nyo, ito rin gawin nyo. Kasi that's the algorithm. Okay? So, erase muna natin. It doesn't matter kung anong language gamitin nyo, it's the same algorithm. Kaya algorithm siya because it was already created, established, and all we need to do now is to follow that algorithm and study them. It's like having vintage parts of parts let's say of a car, studying them, and then of course, in order for us to create new ones, we'll have to study the old parts. Tama ba? Am I correct? So it's the same thing happens here. Okay. So now, only that, siyempre si Python walang mga ganito, no? Walang ganito, walang ganito. But with the algorithm, it's still the same. So now, i-try natin na i-hold yung mga panes. Joke lang. So, i-try natin na i-hold yung mga, so let's erase that one, yung hold. Ilagay natin dito. What you guys do, put the declaration of hold, and then here, we're going to capture the elements, no, the final elements every after end of the loop in the inner loop. So how do we do that? So ito yung gagawin natin. We'll have to okay, I want you guys to copy this, or let's have another for loop na lang inside of this one here, guys, no? So for, and then index, so j na lang, and then hold plus equals to, we have here num j ha, hindi I, and then let's have that one, and then hold plus equals to \n. So para for new line, every final elements in inner loop. So maraming loops, no? Loop within a loop and a loop within a loop. Ang daming loops dyan. Okay? Tapos erase nyo itong hold dito para hindi siya para kung ano yung ano yung final value ng hold, ito yung last value. So ilagay na lang natin dito na okay, check ko muna if this is like correct. Okay, check natin kanina, check natin saan yung ano, ito. Check muna natin if correct. So we have the output there. Okay. Ano to? Wait lang, paano to? Yan. So check natin if we all have the same output. Oy, wait. Ayan. So 7, 9, 6, 2, tama? 69, 11, 8, 100. Next, 7, 6, 2, 9, 11, 8, 69, 100. Another one is 6, 2, 7, 9, 8, 11, 69, 100. Next is 2, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 69, 100. And then, as I've told you, in the fourth to eighth loop, pareha na sila lahat. That means, tama yung concept natin, and when we are able to apply it in our program, tama pa rin. Alright? So, yun yung ano ito? Tawag nito? Outer loop, bubble sort. Pinakamaganda yung ano, dapat maintindihan is what you call this one. First is study and understand the concept first. Sige. Sige, I want you guys to do, to finish it. Then let's practice later on bubble sort. Yung concept muna i-master natin. Kasi yung code, given naman yan. Ang daming code na the same sa ginawa ko sa online. You maybe think, that copy lang answer from there. But because I already lived with the concept of bubble sort, so therefore I'm familiar with it already. That's why. So yeah, eventually, Puhon, you will become also like somebody who can. I remember the 920. Line ko ng dito. Old plastic para yes, ako kaya yan sa'yo. Don't forget to write line 23 line 23 later on. In line 23 mo, don't forget to. Magaling mo yan. Replace the with line 23. Line 23. Backslash ngayon. Alin na yun na? No.
Yes, kaya siya slowest, no? Tama, it serves you right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 po, no? Ang ika-8 yung sorted. Actually, ika-5 na sorted na siya. Kasi we have another loop sa end. Kaya isa pa kasali po. Yung sorted na. Pwede na natin din tanggalin yan. Actually, pwede na. No? Pwede na wala din yan. Kasi kaya nandito pa din siya kasi di ba kanina earlier we don't have this one. So yung ginawa na natin, we display yung sorted value na. But this time, we display kung ano yung elements whenever na may mga interchanging. Oo. Yung same sa concept natin kanina. So, okay na sa inyo dito lahat? Sige now. Going to create ADT for that. Actually, yan gawin natin. ADT namin. Okay. This is to pwede ka na paano. So again, everyone, pwedeng wala na ito. Actually, pwedeng wala na ito or this one. This one is actually used for displaying the already sorted value, tama? Ito din yung magka-capture every time the inner loop will end, we capture the elements that are final whenever after swapping and interchanging. Do you follow? Yung kanina ba na ginawa natin dito? Ito. Which is we actually compared if pareho ba. Okay. Sige daw, let's have practice daw concept-wise. Anong concept? Okay? Kayo ha, let's help everyone together, yung mga andito. Okay. Para yeah, concept-wise you will learn. Wait. Sige, try natin from here. Sige. Kayo diyan sa iyo. Kayo lahat. Yung ano kayo, help one another. Ay, tamalit na ko. Dapat paint mo, i-share mo, parang ikaw mag-share screen kayo diyan. Sige. Sige, and then everyone also sige, kayo na lang muna then kayo later on. Okay lang after nila. Okay. So I want you to sort these numbers. Okay, pwede rin kayo mag-try. And then display also the turns ha. I like this one, something like this, the same. Ito. So 45, 89. Sige, try ninyo daw. Ito. Okay, and also for those who are online, please send your what you call this one, sorted elements, something like ganito. Yung may mga elements same as true with what we did earlier ha, yung ganito. So ito yung gawin niyo kasi most like ito ang daming maglabas sa exam next week. Ayan. And then you will need to concept before tayo mag kasi again much better if you are able to understand its concept than its programming. Yeah, pag share screen I'll post this one to people to what is called this one. I'll post this one to
Asa na yon? Show conversation. Ilagay ko sa conversation. Kisa nang scam. Ano daw? Kay nag-post si Hutar nag-post si Hutar si Nakorda. Julia. Wala man ko nag-post sa inyong klase. No, wala ko ning og tanan. Actually sa first class lang kay kadto lang na ako ilakaw and then with your class ano. Anyway, online people please do try also. Check natin.
We perform the survey in this episode. Can you also do it? Also do it. That's not good. I see him. Okay, so since di ba, you have already bubble sort, of course, guys, di ba nararamay bubble sort na algo? So whenever you type that one to your array, of course, it will generate the correct answer for you. But I want you guys to do it at your own pace muna. Like, based on your, let's beat the compilers together. If tama ba yung compiling ninyo compared to the compiling happens or when we use the Dani, di ka kabalo ba? May pa sa word na lang ka nag-ano kanina. Pero sige lang. Okay naman wala siguro ano. Pero tama to para maunsa na siya. The joint system.
Hindi ka naman, 45 to 89 na pagpaparin. Ako gani, ako mapanlupan, mag-89. 89 na sa rin. 89. Ano lang?
Feeling capture na, Char, participate ba siya? Sana all. Pwede na lang.
Dapat pamilya na guys. Wala rin ako sa lang. Gani mo. Okay.
Pwede sa mo.
Ano ba? Bye. Okay. Ah. Ah.
Tama.
Ay, Ah. Ay, ay. Seven, three, four, six, five, Tama na, sir.
Sige, check na to together ha. Check natin together. Sige daw, check natin together if may pa, actually may pa, ano na, hindi rin na lang so mas makatype pa dire. Okay, let's do it together. So, ascending order tayo. So, this is 45 and 89 as is lang, di ba? Tama? No? Ano mo na lang, ano na lang natin ganito. So, although others are still answering, you can continue by doing it. But this time, let's answer together. Okay, and yeah. Okay. So, am I the one naka-share na? Hindi pa. Ako muna mag-share ha. Okay. So 45 and 89 are as is, no swapping will happen. So 89 and 67. So 89 will bubble up or 67 will bubble up and then swap it to 89. So negative 67 and then 89. How about 89 and 100? So no, as is. How about 103? So swap. So 3 and 100. How about 106? Swap. 6 and 100. Same with 8 and 100. Same with 90 and 100. And then same with 4 and 100. All right. Next. How about 45 and negative 67? Everyone? So negative 67 and 45. How about 45 and 89? As is. 89 and 3, swap. Okay, 89 and 6, swap. 89 and 8, swap. 89 and 90, as is. 90 and 4, swap. Bingo. Okay, 90 and 100. Mura man ni. May tang mugawas ni sa Grand Lotto, no? 642. Okay, next. As is na si 67 and 45. How about 45 and 3? 3 and 45. Then 6 and 45. Then 8 and 45. And then 89. And then 4 and 89. And then we have 90 and then 100. Okay, next loop. So as is 67 negative, 3 and 6 as is, then 6 and 8 as is, 45 and 4. So we have 4 and 45, 45 and 89, 90 and 100. So as is 67, it was 3 and 6, 8, 8 and 4, sorry, 8 and then 8 and 45 and then 89, 90 and then 100. So as is 67 and 3, 6 and 4, so 4 and 6 and then 8, 45, 89, 90, 100. Actually this one is I guess sorted na. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. How many numbers do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9. So meaning to say, may two loops na the same. Two loops the same with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 with 6. Okay. Or 2 or 3. 3. Basta 3 turns or 3 loops with same with 6. So check natin if tama ba ang ano ninyo. So try natin kay ano ulit 'yon si let's see slim cut yun des or dili no is I supposed to so ano parang ikon cut ano si Jugayre pala lim cut yun. Okay, lim cut yun. Tama ba sa kanya? Mali. O, mali ito, mali. Kay wala. Wala sa classroom. 45, 67, 89, 3, 6, 8, 89, 4. Tama siya. Okay, sige, tama. How about kayo? Tama? Tama sa inyo? Asan sa inyo? Pero is it the same? Tama ba? Sige daw, check natin. Hoy, ano na yan? Graph algorithm naman yan. Okay, model biya kay ka sa imong post. Sinay nay mo kahit og tan makita dira ron ha. Careful. Wala dai. Nasa calculus na low. How about kayo? Okay sa inyo? Tama? Okay. Lagi no. So 45, 67, 89, 3, 6, 8, 94, 100, 67, 45, 3, 6, 8, 89, 4, 90, 100. Then check natin sa 6. 67, 33, 4, 6. Wala, linog. Wala, sugoy. Hold and up. Suga, oy, my God. Lord. Suga, oy, my God. Lord. Oh my God. Jesus Christ. Uy, baba daw tayo, baba tayo.
Sampaw?
Ano yung tripod mo man? Ano, sismograph? Napa sila?
Oh, seismograph tayo na yung tungod yun nani ba? Out tanan chief no? Cancel tanan? Sige, thank you.